All right, we're going to go to an in-depth of the Property Leads app. And so the app up here, if you click on it, come into it, it'll look like this. As you start inputting your leads and data in here, it'll start filling out these different buckets. They're filled in based off the next actions here and next contact dates. Now, my recommendation would be anything that is not a new lead, property sold, or dead should have a next contact date. If they ask to be removed from list and they're asking nicely, I'd follow up with them in 3 to 4 months, see how things are going, if anything's changed. And that way you can see here that I've got a next contact date on that. Just based off of the statuses or next actions that you have here and this date field, then they will show up here. So as you have new items that come in, you can see this new lead up here. It starts at the top of your funnel, and that's where that's going to be at. As long as the next action is new lead, it'll be here. Once you start outbound calling and trying to get a hold of them, get more information from them, and you change it to calling for more information and put a next contact date, it'll show up here with whatever that next contact date is. These dates should always be in the future. If you've got stuff that is behind, you need to get in there, make that phone call, and get it back out and either set the appointment, get it into follow-up, or if you're not able to get a hold of them, push that date back out. And when it's time to give them a call, reach out to them again. Calling for more information is usually a 2-week span of trying to call them anywhere between 3 and 10 times to get the basic information on the property, see if there's something there or not. And if they're not ready right now, push them into a status of add to follow-up. Put a next contact date on it, and at that point, you'll work it through the follow-up area. So this is a short window of usually 2 to 3 weeks, and no more than that, of just getting basic information. Once you push them into follow-up and you have a next contact date, if that next contact date is today or you've missed it, but it's been in the last 30 days, it'll show up here. Okay, so you're not worrying about anything that is in follow-up that has a date of next week, next month. It doesn't show up here. It's only going to show today's stuff, and or if you've missed it, but it's got a date in the last 30 days, you're going to make that phone call and either continue to push it out. If they're not ready right now, push the follow-up date or next contact date out. And if they're ready for an appointment, move it over to appointment set and put in the appointment details. You can see here, this one's add to follow-up. It's got a next contact date, and that'll show up on 425. You'll see this show up here. And you'll be able to know if I click on this, it'll load up that one item. And that goes for any of these date type fields. It'll load up that one item. If you click on it, you work it and then move through it. So if I go back to all prospects, it's going to show everything. Once we're down to the follow-up section in general, you have 4 different buttons. General follow-up, where we're still trying to get basic information from them on the property. Appointment follow-up is going to be somebody you set an appointment with, and for whatever reason they rescheduled or no-showed. And so they're in appointment follow-up. You're trying to get back to an appointment set with them. Offer follow-up is going to be somebody that submitted an offer, gave them a date of when they needed to make a decision. You haven't been able to get a hold of them. So they've kind of ghosted you at this point. They're an offer follow-up. You keep following up with them, seeing if anything has changed, if they're ready to make a decision. What does that look like? And that's where the offer is. Contract follow-up is going to be those that had you had them under contract. You found something additional, such as roof or structural foundational issues that were not noted initially. Try to renegotiate, were unable to do so, so the contract fell out. But if at any point in time, if they're willing to move on their number, you could get the contract potentially again. So that's contract follow-up right there. Appointments. As you set appointments and have the status of appointment set, rescheduled, and have a date on it, it'll show up here. So if I click on this, appointments next 7 days, it's going to show us those items that showed up. And if I look at the filters up here, it's anybody that's in appointment set or rescheduled and has today's date or the next 7 days. We'll see those items that show up here and exactly which one is on what date. And if you click the dates, it'll load that item. Okay. Anything that has one of the next actions or statuses of any follow-up, any appointment. So appointment set, rescheduled, canceled, no-show. You see all those different ones that we have. If they're in appointment set or rescheduled, that means that we still have an appointment and we're going out to an appointment. No big deal there. But if it's canceled, no-showed, or completed, we've got some action to take. We need to get this thing into an offer or into follow-up. But it should not sit here for more than a day or two until we get it into follow-up or determine if we're going to make an offer on it. So that's really just trying to get your attention to work the items, get them into either appointment follow-up or into an offer made. As you move them over to offers, you'll see the ones that have offer made on it. And if there's an expiration date on that offer, you'll probably want to set yourself a task based off of that. So if I go into offer made and go into this item real quick, if we go down to the offer section, scroll down, appointment section, and we'll get into the offer section. You'll want to have the information here and make an offer on it. And then once you've completed that, let's go back up, sorry. Offer section right here, and you have some of the details of that offer right here. Once you're done, you'll want to put a task of when that expires. You always want to put an expiration, tell them a date that that offer is off the table. Get yourself attention as far as when that should be done. Now, if you're trying to make a task real quick of when that's going to happen, you hit the T key, just the T on your keyboard. It's a shortcut to create a task. And I would do something like offer expiration task, date and time, and assign it to yourself, okay? If they go dark and you're not able to get a hold of them, move it from offer made after that expiration time and put it into a follow-up, because now we're trying to get back in touch with them, see what's going on. Once we have it under contract, you're going to go ahead and put the under contract date. You want to start filling the contract section in as far as when it expires, and the closing dates with the sellers. If you get a buyer, what's that date, and then the status, such as in escrow, looking for buyers in the contract section. That's all under contract. If something falls out because you find something additional, then move it into contract follow-up. Now, all of these, you'll want to have a next contact date so that it catches your attention and you need to work it. Close deals. Once stuff is closed, it's going to sit here. You'll see it all here, okay? Now, if I keep scrolling, you'll see some of the different stuff, some metrics and data, and you're seeing how many prospects are created by month, by year, all that kind of stuff, appointments, offers, contracts, okay? And then your closed deals. Now, if you're ever trying to locate all of your stuff, if you come back up here, this is going to be where it's going to show all of your items, and that'll show everything you've got, so you can do a quick view right there, okay? And so that's going to be kind of the large overview of pushing it through the sales process into the different buckets on the Property Leads app. I'm going to open up one item. We'll just kind of scroll through and kind of talk through it. You've got your basic information here. Leads manager, whoever's getting the basic information from that seller on the property, this is where their name will go. If I go to add remove, you see it says team members. That's the team members app. If you add somebody's name in the team members app, they'll be available for a selection right here. If you're making outbound attempts, you can knock off or click how many attempts you've made, so you can kind of keep an eye on how many attempts you've made to get a hold of them. Here's your next action or status, what's currently going on with it, when you plan on trying to call again. Call history, this points to the incoming calls app that we'll talk about later. You could type in the seller's phone number here, and they could relate those incoming calls if you wanted to. Everything that comes in originally, you'll want to mark it as a prospect. Once you set an appointment or they have a house that you can actually go out and do an appointment or over the phone appointment, they're interested in an offer in selling, it would be a lead at that point. And that's really what you're trying to track. You're tracking all those that have come through the system versus those that actually have a house that you can make an offer on and get to an appointment. Once you fill in this map field, anytime you fill it in, it's going to auto pull back the